Russian President Vladimir Putin claimed in a speech on Monday that Ukraine was completely created by the Soviet Union in the aftermath of the 1970 Bolshevik Revolution. Ukraine, I'm quoting, an inherent part of our history, culture, spiritual space. There are comrades, relatives, not only colleagues, friends, but also our family, people we have blood and family ties with, Putin said. Okay, that doesn't sound good. And then he went into this really weird history lesson. Remember, he's the guy who said the fall of the Soviet Union is the biggest error in modern history. But
which is a strange thing to say about that particular century. There's a lot of big events that happened there.
Yeah, right. However, I don't think he means the fall of the Soviet Empire, of the Soviet Union. He means the fall of the empire. Because yesterday he went on to take on Lenin, Stalin, Khrushchev for giving away parts of the Soviet Union to Poland, Hungary, and Ukraine. He said that these guys are responsible for taking apart the Russian Empire. Well, don't you still have Lenin on ice there in front of the Kremlin? Why is he doing this? Because of the influence of thought of one guy, Alexander Dugin. If you've ever read Alexander Dugin, this could have been written by him. He was talking all about the core values that we have and the religion that we all celebrate and the rise up of the old Russian Empire, the pre-modern empire. It was scary stuff if you know what you are looking for. I don't know what his intention is. He looked crazy. He sounded crazy. If you look at what he said, read what he said, it sounds crazy. But if you know Alexander Dugin and what he preaches in Russia, it's a fourth political theory. Now, I don't know if he was doing it because he has adopted this crazy philosophy or he just wants people to think he's crazy. So they're like, don't screw with him. He's got a twitchy eye. One way or another, it doesn't really matter. Putin threatened yesterday a bloodbath if Ukraine resists the loss of territory because he took 2 states and they have the Russian separatists in those 2 states. But what happened was when they took over Ukraine, they killed almost all the Ukrainians. And then they sent in all of these Russian families and said, you, and you're moving to Ukraine. But I don't. You're moving to Ukraine. So they moved to Ukraine and they've raised their family. And in these 2 particular states, there's a lot of Russian ties. Okay. And so they've always claimed that these really are Russian states. The Ukrainians say, no, it's a Ukrainian state, but you just sent a whole bunch of Russians in here. And so yesterday he just took them and then signed a document and said, yep, they're ours now.
Well, he recognized their independence.
Yes, thank you. Yes, you're right.
And then send troops immediately in, which is what you do with a new independent country.
Right, when you recognize. We're just recognizing them. That's all we're doing, and sending in troops. Right. It's not an invasion.
No.
Okay, so that's pretty much what our government said. It's not really an invasion. And this is what this is what Joe Biden said in a gaffe, quote unquote. It wasn't a gaffe. He's just so senile. He doesn't know what he's saying sometimes. He's like, oh, that was secret. I wasn't supposed to say that. He has spoken in the past about we'll see what kind of invasion it is. If it's just like a little incursion, then we're not going to do much. Well, I got news for you. The rest of the world is doing a lot. We're not. But why? Let me tell you about the part of his speech that no one will talk about. No one's going to talk about the Alexander Dugin stuff because they don't have any idea what it is. I'm telling you, if you don't know who Alexander Dugin is and you're interested in world affairs, especially what Russia is up to, you should read the fourth political theory. Your hair will fall out. Okay? You'll read the first part of it, a few chapters, and you'll be like, yeah, that's right. Who's going to tell us what our heritage should be? Who's going to tell us what religion we've got to practice and tell us that our girls have to be alone on the swim team and that guys can't have babies. Who's going to do? There's a lot in there that you'll go, yeah, it's there for a reason. It's there to scoop up all of the disenfranchised people. You're going to agree with some of the stuff he says, and then you're going to, if you're smart, you won't get wrapped up in the rah, and you'll see, okay, wait a minute. What's his plan? Armageddon? He's really for Armageddon. It will take Armageddon to reset the whole world. Yeah, I'm not for the Armageddon party. Maybe that's just me. Okay, so here's what he said, Putin. He talks about going in and the problems of Ukraine. And then he says this. At the time, radicals were becoming more and more brazen, and their claims were becoming bigger and bigger. So they had no problem to influence the weak power that was weakened by the virus of corruption. And they were replacing cultural, economic, social interests of the people, actual sovereignty of Ukraine by speculations on nationalist ground. Cultural, economic, and social interests were being changed. Who does that sound like? Who could possibly change those? Who was over in 2014 to 2016 that could have possibly influenced cultural, economic, and social norms? In case you don't know yet, he says, stable statehood hasn't been built in Ukraine, and the political electoral procedures, who could have changed those, served as just a screen to divide power and assets between oligarch clans. Wait a minute. Who was giving money to the oligarch clans? Corruption that's a problem in a lot of countries, including Russia. Ukraine has become a thing of its own. It's been corroding the entire system. As the branches of the state and radicals use the unhappiness of the people, fear and happiness, so they rode that we have, and they turned 2014 into a coup d'etat. They were backed by foreign states. From the data that we have, the support of the so-called protest camp, the Independence Square in Kyiv, came from the U.S. Embassy. It was $1 million per day. And additionally, large amounts of money were transferred to the private accounts of the leaders of opposition, and we're talking about tens of millions of dollars. Boom. Now, if you happen to watch our special on the impeachment of Donald Trump, we found all kinds of bad stuff going on in Ukraine with Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, George Soros, and Barack Obama. Millions just lost. Gone. What happened? We were actually doing training a year before, maybe 2 years before, 2014. We trained those people how to do a coup d'etat. Then the embassy was running money to them. Our social media was helping them. So this is why we're being such a weenie, I think. All of the people that were involved in that are currently in power here in the United States. All of the people that were doing all these really nasty things are still in the government of the United States. So when Putin just says something that nobody else will pick up, he knows nobody, but the White House will pick up on this. When he says this in an hour-long speech, and it's only a couple of lines, only those who are in trouble because they did those things will recognize it. Ukraine was not brought closer to democracy after the coup d'etat, and the political forces that backed them brought the situation to a deadlock. They pushed Ukraine into a chasm of civil war. That is us. So if he goes forward, I hope what he's saying is, I'm only going to do this. But it'll be a bloodbath if I decide to take Ukraine. And guess who's responsible for me saying we have to go save the Ukrainians? And who are we saving them from? The evil Americans. Believe me, if my research team can find all of the dirt on this administration and the Obama administration, you don't think Vladimir Putin can? Now, we've responded with panty waist sanctions. Germany just responded. They're closing the Nord Stream pipeline. And to that, Putin has responded today. I'll give you that in just 60 seconds. Okay, so the Nord Stream pipeline has been canceled by Germany. Yay! And Putin responded by saying, great, Europe, you can expect $2,000 a month energy payments. That's not going to go well. Well, maybe we can beg Saudi Arabia to send them some more oil, or hope that some gas can be channeled out of the butts of cows. We could have helped them, but we can't now because we're not producing it. We were a net exporter just a year ago, a net exporter. But now we have no teeth and we can't help. In fact, this is going to cost us. Here's SOT 2, please. Here's Kamala Harris.
Can you explain to Americans what exactly will they face if this happens?
Sure. As the president talked about in his speech, we are aware that, again, when America stands for her principles,
oh my gosh,
and all of the things that we hold dear, it requires sometimes for us to put ourselves out there in a way that maybe we will incur some cost. And in this situation, that may relate to energy costs, for example. But we are taking very specific and appropriate, I believe, steps to mitigate what that cost might be if it happens.
Yeah. What are you doing exactly? Well, you have a Democratic congressman. They seem to have really honed in to what the problem is at your gas station, Cut 3.
But the American people need to understand who is making the big profit on the gas.
Yes.
Right now, I would call for Congress, Senate, and House to conduct immediate hearings on the profitability of the oil industry. There is clearly price gouging going on. They're going to whine and say, oh, it's not us, it's the Saudi Arabians or somebody else. But the profits of those industries have gone through the roof.
But independent of the profits of the companies, Congressman, it is your expectation, and this I should form this as a question, is it your expectation that that gas could go above $5 a gallon in California, considering what we've heard from the White House, that there could be a cost, there will likely be a cost?
Yes, there's likely to be a cost. Exactly what that cost is going to be.
Shut up. I can't take it. It is not a price gouging situation. This is a problem that the White House has created by ESG standards. They are not funding anything for fossil fuels. At $5 a gallon for gas in California, mark my words, you're going to pay $5 a gallon for gas all over the country. It may not happen tomorrow, and it may not happen just because of Russia, but guarantee you will pay $5 a gallon of gas until Joe Biden and the financial community takes its foot off the throat of fossil fuel manufacturers.
And I was in California, a week and a half ago, and I saw $5 a gallon gas. It's already there. It's already there. So without this war, without all of these other things piling up on top of each other, so if you don't think $5 gallon gas is coming, especially in California, I mean, it's already present.